All right, welcome in. We have some breaking news here on Philadelphia Eagles now as Howie Roseman has done it once again. We've talked about this Eagles rushing defense being one of the worst in recent franchise history. They have bulked up that unit. Yesterday it was Linval Joseph coming in, the 330-pounder brought in to be a stabilizer at that defensive tackle spot, and now Howie Roseman bringing in the most key ticket free agent left there on the market in Ndamukong Suh. He has been signed to a one-year contract, and it's funny how things transpired early here on a Thursday because I was getting ready to put together our Philadelphia Eagles Now live show as we go live every single Thursday, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific, and I had seen this tweet from Jay Glazer who had hinted that the Eagles had been in talks with Ndamukong Suh. He tweeted this out. Linval Joseph isn't the only defensive tackle that the Eagles talked to this week. They have also been in talks with Ndamukong Suh about potentially signing in Philly. He followed that up a few minutes later by tweeting this. Even with Joseph signing, they are still talking with Suh about adding him to the roster as well, trying to bolster that front line. And then about a half hour later, this came in from Rapoport, and this made it official that Ndamukong Suh is heading to the Philadelphia Eagles. Rap Sheet tweeting this: the rich get richer. The Eagles are signing free agent defensive tackle Ndamukong Suh to a one-year contract, sources say. They're beefing up their defensive front with a top free agent. They want to keep the defensive line a strength, and the deal has been agreed to, and it is done. And this is something that the Eagles, no question, needed to do because for the first time in franchise history, they've given up at least 140 rushing yards for 3 consecutive weeks, and they've given up more than 100 rushing yards for 5 consecutive games. And for a team that has Super Bowl aspirations, we saw Washington expose them a little bit by running the football continuously, keeping the ball away from the Eagles' offense, and in turn, they were able to hand Philadelphia their first loss. And I thought Mike Garafolo also made a pretty good point here in just adding on top of this conversation. Suh has made it clear in recent weeks that he wanted to play for the Philadelphia Eagles. And this is why you subscribe, because we've continued to talk about this possibility because it made sense all along. He joins Linval Joseph, and now there are 2 new veteran defensive tackle additions this week. Suh did speak on the matter as well. He simply tweeted out the eagle emoji. So he, too, making it official that he is going to join what has statistically been one of the better defenses in the NFL here in 2022, but in terms of their rushing defense, they've been one of the worst in the National Football League. So if you like the signing of Ndamukong Suh, we're only getting started on today's show. So much to unpack. I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. If you don't like the signing, I want you to comment why. We did just have a $200 donation come in during our live show from Elijah Stovall. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles. Elijah, the big baller. We appreciate that. Let's see if Chase notices I did. We are live right now on Eagles Now. We will celebrate that donation coming up after this segment. This is also why you subscribe to the channel, folks, because when breaking news happens, we go live faster than anybody, and we bring you coverage better than anybody. And every single day, it is my duty, it is my job to bring you interactive and informative Eagles coverage. So make sure you lock us in. Let's get to 40,000 subs as soon as possible. More on Ndamukong Suh. We're talking about one of the best DTs who's ever played the game of football. He's 35 years old, 2nd overall pick out of Nebraska back in 2010, a 3-time first-team All-Pro, won a Super Bowl a couple of years ago with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and was named to the 2010s All-Decade team. His career stats, it's easy to see why. From 2010 on, he was looked at and revered as one of the more dominant interior defensive linemen in the league. 590 tackles, 71 sacks. That's a really good number in 191 games played for a defensive tackle. A guy like Fletcher Cox can't even sniff that. 130 tackles for loss and 212 quarterback hits. So basically every time that Ndamukong Suh has been on the field playing, and he's never missed a game in his entire career, never missed a game in his entire career. He's been productive, and he's getting after the quarterback on a game-in, game-out basis with more than 1 quarterback hit per game. His Pro Football Focus numbers, this kind of pertains to the Eagles' struggles against the ground. Can he help in that category. He ranked 32nd among all defensive tackles last year against the run and 26th against the pass. But oftentimes with veteran players who have been in the league for a long time, when they get traded, when they sign a deal, either in free agency or late in the season like this, they get rejuvenated by a change of scenery. They get motivated at that thought of maybe chasing another Lombardi trophy, and they end up playing better and maximizing themselves, even if they do have a lot of wear and tear on the tires, because they understand the opportunity at stake. They want to impress the fan base as well as the roster. Suh will be added to this defensive line depth chart, which I actually think is a pretty solid one. They just need depth at defensive tackle, and they have really missed Jordan Davis, who occupies a lot of space at that interior. Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, Josh Sweat. That's a really good starting defensive line. Then you go to some of the depth pieces, and that's where it gets a little bit concerning. Robert Quinn has played just over 40 snaps so far since being traded from the Chicago Bears. As of right now, he's been a bust. Milton Williams is a solid player. Jordan Davis currently on IR. Marvin Tuipulotu is on IR as well, and that's why the additions of these guys and Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph are so huge for the Eagles' defensive line, because even when Tuipulotu comes back, as well as Jordan Davis, at the very least, they could be depth pieces for Jonathan Gannon's defense. And they certainly need it against the ground game. This is historic right here. This is the first time since 2006 that the Eagles in 3 straight games have allowed at least 140 rushing yards. It all started against Pittsburgh as they ran for $144. Dameon Pierce led the Texans on that spurt in which they ran for $168. And then last week against Washington, the Commanders able to convert on 12 third downs, some of them coming through that ground game, also through the aerial attack, but on the rush, they ran for 152 yards. We'll get to more on Ndamukong Suh coming up around the corner, but first, you know what's also coming up around the corner? The holiday season. Thanksgiving is next Thursday. Black Friday is next Friday. So you have to get your hands on the best holiday gifts right now, and you can save money. 10% off if you head to Established Titles.com/chat. It's a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. It's a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds, lords, and ladies in English. Title packs give you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land with a unique plot number on a private estate in Edelston, Scotland, and an official certificate with a crest. They plant a tree with every order and work with global charities, One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future, to support global reforestation efforts. And by making a purchase, you could officially include the title of Lord or Lady on your credit card, plane tickets, dating profiles, and more. It makes for a great last-minute gift, and they're actually running a massive early Black Friday sale right now with discounts up to 80% off. So if you use the code CHAT at EstabliskedTitles.com/chat, you save an extra 10% off. We'll put that link in the comment section and the description of this video. We appreciate them for being a key sponsor here at Chat Sports. Now, more on Ndamukong Suh. If you look at the analytics, last year, it's not like he was stellar against the run. We already broke down those Pro Football Focus numbers. But this is what I've continued to say, is that Suh's mere presence on the football field can make a difference alongside Hargrave, alongside Fletcher Cox, and the defensive end. So at the very least, he'll be able to do that. And then once Jordan Davis comes back, how many teams can say that Ndamukong Suh is their backup defensive tackle? Or if he needs to start a game here and there, he can do that as well. And at the very least, he's serving as a depth piece for this defense. And you look at what he's done over the last 4 years. I think that Ndamukong Suh still has some gas left in the tank in 2021. As I said a little bit earlier, he is still a very good getter after of the opposing quarterback. 6 sacks, 2.5, and more over the last couple of years. And what the consistent theme is with Ndamukong Suh, he has never missed a game throughout his NFL career. So he's always healthy as well. And that's also why this signing bodes well for Philadelphia, because they get a key piece who can start, who can play at that backup role. He has a ton of experience. He is very strong and can move opposing offensive linemen with brute force. He can still demand double teams, and he can help you out against the run and against the pass as well. We will be going live as well for our watch party on Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts. So if you're going to join our Eagles versus Colts watch party, as we are going to be giving away a free signed Brian Dawkins helmet, I want you to type me right now in the comment section. More numbers on Ndamukong Suh, and these are even more precise. This is a great graphic right here by a graphics team. This shows you the quarterback hits that he's had every year. A little bit earlier, I was talking about how Ndamukong Suh is able to get consistent pressure on the opposing quarterback. And in the playoffs, that's important because if you face an elite quarterback in the playoffs, like a Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers, and that is realistic considering where they are in the standings with the Packers and the Bucs and where the Eagles are, if you can't get off the field because other teams are just running it full throttle right down your throat, your offense can't establish momentum. But also at the same time, and that's why it's important to stop the run, if you can't stop the pass against some of those elite quarterbacks, that is yet another area in which they can exploit you. And Ndamukong Suh can help you in both of those areas. 13 quarterback hits, 19 quarterback hits, 14, 19, 12 over the last 5 years, and the sack numbers pretty consistent as well with him operating out of that defensive tackle spot. And a lot of people have been concerned about Suh's addition to the locker room and how he might impact this culture. I don't really think that that's going to be a problem at all. In fact, everything that I've heard about Ndamukong Suh, he has not been a negative cultural addition anywhere that he's been. And he has been very well traveled. Was drafted number 2 out of Nebraska by the Detroit Lions. He was there from 2010 to 2014, where he played for former Eagles defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz. Spent a few years with the Miami Dolphins, 2015 to 2017. By the way, him not missing any games throughout his career, that's true, but he also got suspended for a couple of games after stepping on an opposing player's head. Rams in 2018, spent a short stop there to try to win a Super Bowl. Didn't end up happening, but then he goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from 2019 to 2021 and ends up winning that Lombardi Trophy there during that 2020 season. So because he is the Iron Man, and because Ndamukong Suh is a tank, and because he demands the attention of opposing offensive linemen, he is an Iron Man. So type Iron down in the comment section to show love to the newest Philadelphia Eagle.